A child rolls their eyes at us and says, whatever, or I hate you. And as well as being insulted, we fear that we've got a rude child and it's only going to get worse. I remember attempting a maths homework with my daughter. She told me, "You're stupid, go away." And what I learned from it is exactly what I'm going to share with you today. So if you're a parent trying to raise a child who's both respectful and confident without shaming them into compliance or letting it all slide, this video is exactly for you. What I'm going to show you isn't another list of consequences to try. You'll learn a response that finally makes sense. And if you're new here, please do hit subscribe. There's a new video most weeks, and this is part of a whole series on parenting strong-willed and sensitive children. So I'm Camilla. I'm a parenting coach who has helped thousands of families, and I'm a mum of 4, and I've lived through plenty of these moments myself. I help parents find an approach that actually works, not just in theory, but in the real, exhausting, live moments too. And here's what no one tells us. The behaviour isn't the problem. Eye rolling, backchat, you can't make me, these feel like personal insults, and that's exactly why they're so hard to respond to clearly. But most of the time when a child is rude at home, they're not really upset with us. Something built up somewhere else, and we are just the safe space where it finally spills out. Children hold it together at school, at a friend's house, in public. The moment they're safe enough to fall apart, they do. And safe enough usually means us. I remember my daughter telling me I was just stupid when I was trying to help her with a maths worksheet. It turned out that she'd sat in class not understanding what the teacher had taught. She felt too embarrassed to ask for help, and she'd watched her friend finish the worksheet with ease while she struggled. She carried all of that home with her, and I got it in the neck. The child who is rude to us is almost always the child who is feeling bad about themselves. They probably held it in together all day long, and it runs out the moment they got home. Here's something worth knowing for those of us dealing with this not just occasionally, but a lot. Sometimes the eye rolling and the backchat stops feeling like an explosion and starts becoming a habit. The dismissive tone, the huffing, the whatever, becomes their default way of responding. But even then, it's still being triggered by an emotion. What's happening is that the feelings underneath were never addressed, so the pattern kept repeating. Behavior became the way they learned to cope. It's not a character flaw. We just haven't had the tools or the insight to address this unmet need. But once we see the behavior differently, we start asking a completely different question. And that question changes everything about what we do next. There's one emotion that shows up more consistently underneath rudeness than almost any other. And it's not anger, though that's what we see. Shame is what drives most backchat. When a child feels embarrassed or they've failed on something, they go on the offensive before anyone can see they're struggling. A child who snaps, "You can't make me," is often a child who feels backed into a corner with an emotion that they can't contain. And lashing out is easier. Trying to connect a shame-driven moment with a punishment or criticism doesn't teach. It just adds to the weight they're already carrying. And I want to be clear here. Understanding this doesn't mean that we become a punchbag. It means that we respond to what's really going on rather than just the surface behavior. The boundary still matters. How we hold it changes. So I'd love you to grab my G.R.E.A.T method, my step-by-step guide that helps get kids to listen before these moments even happen. The link is in the description below. Grab it now so that you don't forget. So what actually works? 2 things have to happen together. There's a version of empathy that feels like giving in, and there's a version that keeps us completely in charge. Most parents have never been shown the difference. The 2 things that have to happen at the same time are: 1, acknowledge the feeling underneath, and 2, hold the boundary on the behavior. Not one instead of the other, both at once. So when my daughter told me I was stupid, I didn't react to the words. Instead, I named what I can see. Looking at the homework is really frustrating. Something's feeling really hard now, which is why you told me I'm stupid. That one move, naming the feeling and the cause of the rudeness, lowered the temperature enough that we could actually talk. Then we agreed on her completing just 3 questions. Just 3. And once she'd let go of the shame and engaged her thinking brain, she finished the entire worksheet herself. What changed was patience, empathy, and helping her release the shame that she was carrying. So she didn't need a threat or a consequence. Empathy in these moments isn't weakness. It's the most effective tool we have because it's the only one that addresses what's actually driving the behavior. Getting through the moment is one thing, but what we do in the quiet after it is where the real teaching happens. Then it's calm, led with connection, not correction. That was a tough one, wasn't it? Before anything else, we name what happened clearly and kindly. When you spoke to me like that, it wasn't okay. Even when things feel that hard, I know you know that. We're not shaming them. We're giving them the language for what happened and the experience of our love even after a hard moment. That rupture and repair is what actually builds the long-term change that we're looking for. And my daughter actually apologized without me forcing it. The child who can say, "I'm frustrated," instead of "you're stupid, go away," didn't get there through more consequences. They got there because someone helped them enough times that they learned a better way. So now that you understand what's really behind the backchat and eye rolling, you're going to want to understand why your strong-willed or sensitive child is wired this way in the first place. So click the video on screen and it will all start to make so much sense. And if you'd like to talk through what's happening in your specific family and get a clear plan, I'd love to offer you a free discovery call. The link to book that is in the description below. And if you haven't already grabbed the great method guide, how to get your kids to listen without nagging or shouting, the link is in the description for that too.